Welcome back to 7 Car, the only automotive channel that tells the truth you already suspected but were too afraid to admit. Today's topic? Oh, this one hurts. But in a good way. We dive into the 7 cars that make you look rich, even if your checking account is screaming for help, your credit score is recovering from trauma, and your gas tank is surviving off fumes and prayer. These are the cars that create illusions. Cars that manipulate reality. Cars that trick strangers into thinking you have a high-paying job, expensive taste, and a skincare routine that costs more than rent. But behind the scenes, maybe you re-eating instant noodles for dinner and hoping the engine light is just a suggestion. These cars give you that aesthetic, the clean, sharp, I have money aura, without actually requiring any. So buckle up, preferably with a seatbelt that isn't fraying from years of financial neglect. Because we're about to reveal the machines that make you look like you're winning, even if your wallet is losing. Number 7 BMW 3 Series, the poor man's millionaire machine. The BMW 3 Series from the late 2000s is the automotive equivalent of wearing a fake Rolex that looks so real nobody ever questions it. And that's the beauty of it. This car radiates wealth, success, and a suspiciously stable emotional life, even if you have none of those things. When you drive an E90 or E92, strangers immediately assume you have a good job, a tasteful apartment, and that you understand things like tax deductions and investments. The truth. You might be sleeping on an air mattress, and your nice apartment view is just your neighbor's brick wall, but none of that matters. The badge does the talking. The iconic angel eye headlights, the sharp German lines, the confident BMW stance, all of it screams, I make good decisions. Meanwhile, your bank account is whispering, help me. These cars have aged like fine wine. The design is clean, muscular, timeless. Park one next to a brand new Honda Civic and people will still assume the BMW belongs to the successful one in the situation, not the guy who bought his car from a sketchy Facebook marketplace listing at 2 a.m. Mechanically, oh, they're a gamble, a financial roulette wheel. You might get a model that runs beautifully for years, or one that smokes more than a stressed out office worker and leaks oil with the enthusiasm of a broken espresso machine. But here's the trick. Nobody sees that part. Nobody sees the oil stains on your driveway. Nobody sees you Googling E90 engine ticking sound, is this normal? At 3 a.m., all they see is the BMW. And that's enough. The interior seals the illusion. Leather seats or leatherette, nobody knows. A driver-focused cockpit. The iconic orange BMW gauges. It all looks like money. Even if the radio buttons are fading and the previous owner clearly had a nicotine addiction strong enough to stain metal. The funniest part. People think you paid a fortune. They'll assume you dropped $20,000, $30,000, maybe even more. When in reality, you bought the car for the price of a PlayStation 5 and 3 used iPhones combined. This car is a social cheat code. It's the automotive equivalent of editing your dating profile to say entrepreneur. It might not be technically true, but nobody questions it. Number 6. Mercedes-Benz, the luxury illusion machine. Champagne looks on tap. Water budget, the W204 Mercedes. C-Class is a car that instantly elevates your social status by at least 3 tax brackets. The moment you re-seen behind the wheel, even if you relate on every single bill you have, this is the car that makes people think you drink sparkling water unironically, that you hire accountants instead of using free tax apps, that you know what portfolio diversification means without Googling it first. Here's the funny part. This generation, C-Class, is shockingly cheap. Used prices have fallen so hard, they're basically tunneling toward the Earth's core. You can buy one for less than the price of a mid-range gaming PC, but absolutely nobody needs to know that. When people see the 3-pointed star on the hood, their brains fill in the blanks automatically. He must have a good job. She probably owns real estate. He definitely doesn't microwave his meals. And all of that is a lie, but a beautiful lie. The kind of lie society supports. Let's talk about the design. Mercedes has always been the king of subtle luxury. Where BMW pulses with sportiness and Audi screams tech, the C-Class whispers class. The proportions are elegant. The posture is confident. The headlights have that soft, expensive glow. The kind of glow that says, I have health insurance. The interior, velvet smooth. The wood trim, the stitched leather, the polished buttons. Even the air vents look like they graduated from private school. Sit inside a clean W204 and you will feel richer. You might even straighten your posture and start speaking better English. This is what the French call fake prosperity aura. Okay, not really, but it should be. Here is the real illusion. This is one of the few cheap used cars where nobody assumes you re-broke. Drive a used Honda. People assume budget. Drive a used Nissan. People assume survival mode. Drive a used Mercedes. People assume you chose luxury. Because you value luxury. And the funniest twist, you can be absolutely broke, but the car makes everyone treat you better. Parking valet. More polite. Co-workers, more respectful. Your date? Suddenly more interested. Your neighbors? They look at you like you're doing something important. The irony? Underneath the badge, the W204 can be a ticking financial time bomb. Repairs can be brutal. Sensors can fail. Electronics can revolt. But again, nobody sees that part. Nobody sees you whispering prayers when a warning light turns on. Nobody sees you driving in silence, hoping the sound you heard wasn't expensive. They only see the badge. The three-pointed star is social hypnosis. People don't see you. They see what the car tells them to see. And the W204 tells them, this person has their life together. Even if the only thing you have together is this car. Number 5, Lexus IS250 is 350-2006-2013. The car that makes you look like you have quiet, mysterious, generational wealth. The Lexus is one of the most dangerous weapons a broke man can own. Not because it's fast, not because it's expensive to maintain, but because of what it communicates. This car tells the world a very specific story. I don't flash my money because I don't need to. It gives off silent wealth energy. That calm, calculated. My family owns property somewhere vibe. The kind of wealth that doesn't yell, it whispers. And that whisper hits harder than any Lamborghini revving down the street. Here's where it gets hilarious. Most people driving these cars bought them for the price of 2 iPhones and a cracked MacBook. But nobody knows that, because Lexus does something Mercedes and BMW rarely do at this price range. It hides age like a vampire. The IS250-350 doesn't age, it marinates. It stays sharp, low, elegant, perfectly proportioned. It looks like a luxury car designed by someone who actually had taste. The headlights, purposeful and aggressive. The taillights, clean and modern. The body lines, smooth like a rich man's apology. When you pull up somewhere and it is, people won't think you're broke. They won't think you're struggling. They won't think you're surviving on discounted instant ramen. No. They think you're one of those quiet, calm, financially stable people who drink invest in index funds, and don't really use Instagram. And that's the scary part. The Lexus illusion is powerful. The interior adds to the deception. Everything is soft touch, stitched, leather wrapped, polished. It smells like a spa inside. Even a beat-up still feels more premium than a brand new Corolla. And then there's the reliability. Or, more accurately, the mythical reliability aura that Lexus built over decades. You don't even need to maintain the car perfectly. People assume it's reliable just because it's a Lexus. You could be ignoring check engine lights like their old text messages. The car could be running on hopes and expired fuel stabilizer. Doesn't matter. Everyone thinks the is lasts forever because, well, it usually does. And psychologically, Lexus owners project a sense of maturity. BMW equals young dude trying to look successful. Mercedes equals someone who spends more than they earn. Lexus equals someone whose life is actually stable. Even if it's not, the IS250-350 is the perfect fake rich machine because it doesn't look cheap, it doesn't look old, it doesn't look sporty, it looks intentional. Like you picked it on purpose, like you value comfort, class, and emotional stability. Even if you actually value none of those things, This is the car that makes people assume you have a calm personality, a stable income, a clean credit score, a skincare routine, a decent savings account, emotional intelligence, when in reality, the only thing you have is this Lexus. And honestly, that's enough! Number 4. Audi A5 2008 220 16. The car that makes you look like you own a minimalist apartment, drink espresso, and have a mysterious past. The Audi A5 is the most dangerous kind of fake rich car because it doesn't just make you look successful, it makes you look expensively mysterious. This is the car that gives off the energy of a man who speaks quietly, owns a black turtleneck, and always seems like he's just coming back from a meeting nobody else was invited to. It's luxury with a brooding personality. A car that whispers, "I'm not rich. I'm European rich." Here, S. The insane part. You can buy an early A5 nowadays for the price of a used scooter, but not a single person on earth believes that. Something about Audi design hypnotizes people. The long coupe roofline, sexy. The oversized grille, bold. The LED strips, dramatic, theatrical, almost cinematic. The proportions, they look like they were sculpted by someone who grew up tracing Ferraris and sipping fine wine at age 9. The A5 has the kind of visual confidence that makes people forgive everything, even your financial struggles. You could be 3 months behind on rent, living on microwave burritos, driving on bolt tires, checking your bank balance every 4 hours. But the moment you step out of an Audi A5, people think he definitely vacations in Italy. And that's the power of this car. It creates a fictional version of you, and that fictional version is way richer, smoother, and more successful than you'll ever be. Let's talk about the interior, because this is where Audi really scams humanity. Everything inside an A5 feels like it was touched by a German architect who hates plastic and loves perfection. The materials. Soft, expensive, adult. The ambient lighting, warm, luxurious, subtle, like the inside of a boutique hotel. The seats, supportive in a way your real-life relationships aren't when someone sits inside an A5 for the first time. Their brain immediately assumes, this man has his life together. No questions asked. The car does a line for you. But here's the dark secret. The A5 can also be an unstable financial grenade. Audi repair costs aren't high. They're biblical. One broken sensor and suddenly you're choosing between fixing the car or eating food this month. But once again, nobody sees that part. They don't see you searching Audi EPC Light 1 T turn off at 2 a.m. They don't see you sweating every time the check engine light flickers. They don't see you praying the transmission doesn't act possessed today. They just see the exterior, smooth, clean, expensive. And that illusion is worth more than the car itself. The Audi A5 is a cheat code. It makes you look rich, cultured, classy, and emotionally mature. It's a car that convinces the world you're living a life of espresso breakfasts, art gallery dates, and international flights, when in reality, you re-eating instant noodles in the dark because your power bill is late again. Number 3. Cadillac CTS 2008 to 2014, the car that makes you look like you have old money. Even if your bank account has no money, the Cadillac CTS is one of the greatest optical illusions in automotive history. This car doesn't just make you look rich. It makes you look like you inherited something. A business. A house. A problem. Something expensive. This is the car that gives off my family has land energy. Even if your family barely has Wi-Fi, the moment you roll up in a CTS, the world assumes you're connected. Important, established, the kind of car that makes people think you use words like portfolio, assets, and renovation casually in conversations. Nobody will ever guess you bought the car for less than the price of 1 month of rent in New York. Cadillac, for a brief moment in the late 2000s, went absolutely insane, but in a good way. They redesigned everything, sharpened the lines, added angles so aggressive they could cut emotions, and created this bold, intimidating premium machine that still looks expensive today. The CTS doesn't look like a car you buy. It looks like a car you received passed down as part of a legacy. Even if the only legacy you actually have is student debt. Look at this thing! The sharp lead streaks on the front. Beautiful! The chrome touches. Luxurious. The wide, authoritative stance. Powerful! You could pull up anywhere, a hotel, a business meeting, a date, and people will assume you booked the presidential suite, even if you're actually staying in a cheap room with a broken air conditioner and questionable stains on the carpet. And the interior. This is where Cadillac hits you with a roundhouse kick of luxury. Soft leather everywhere. Beautiful stitching. A dashboard that curves around you like it respects your existence. Wood trim that makes you feel like you should start drinking whiskey on the rocks and making life decisions. Even the seat movements sound expensive. Nobody hears cheap car. When they sit inside a CTS, they hear gentlemen. Let's begin the meeting. But here's where it gets hilarious. Cadillac resale value drops faster than your willpower on a diet. These cars depreciated so aggressively that you can buy one now for the price of a used gaming laptop and a half-broken treadmill. Yet the illusion, stronger than ever. People won't question it. To them, a Cadillac is not a car. It's a statement. BMW says, I want to look successful. Mercedes says, I want to look classy. Cadillac says, I am successful. Why are we even having this conversation? Even if you're unemployed. But here's the real plot twist. The CTS can be a diva. If one sensor dies, 5 others will start crying too. If something electrical fails, you're entering a mini-series of suffering. And if the transmission ever starts acting strange, congratulations! You just entered the Cadillac Financial Hunger Games. But nobody sees the repairs. Nobody sees you Googling CTS clicking noise. What does it mean while sweating violently? Nobody sees you sacrificing daily pleasures to pay for premium gas. They only see the badge. The luxury, the aura. The Cadillac CTS makes you look like you have a trust fund. When in reality, the only thing you trust is that this car will at least make you look rich until payday. Number 2, Lexus LS430 2001 to 2006. The car that makes you look like you own property. Even if you can't afford rent, the Lexus LS430 is the automotive equivalent of walking around with a Rolex that you absolutely did not buy at a pawn shop. Even though, yes, you absolutely did. This car makes you look like you have generational wealth, a financial advisor, and a vacation home in Aspen. When in reality, you barely have a working debit card? Let's make something very clear. Nobody, and I mean nobody, knows how cheap these cars are today. If you show someone a picture of an LS430 and then show them the price, they will think it's a glitch, or a typo, or a scam. It's the ultimate. How the hell is this so affordable? Luxury cheat code! The LS430 has a presence that screams, I have a driver. Even if the driver is just you, wearing a hoodie, late to work, sipping cheap gas station iced coffee. This thing oozes quiet wealth. Not loud wealth like a Lamborghini. Not insecure wealth like a brand new BMW. Not, please think I'm rich, wealth like a Mercedes C-Class. No. This is silent old money wealth. The kind that doesn't brag. The kind that lets the details speak. The design is pure, elegant. Soft curves, clean lines, and a front end that looks like it has never been stressed in its life. This car looks like it drinks champagne for hydration. The chrome accents are subtle, the grille is classy, and the stance is dignified. Even parked, the LS430 looks like it should come with a private chef. But the inside, my God, the inside. The cabin feels like Lexus went to a 5-star hotel, stole all the best ideas from every suite, and wrapped them inside a car. Soft leather that feels expensive, even when worn. A wood trim steering wheel that gives you an instant 10 IQ boost. Seats that massage you, heat you, cool you, and emotionally support you. A ride so smooth it feels like you're being transported by angels on suspension coils. And here's where the illusion becomes unstoppable. People know Lexus lasts forever. They know it's reliable. They know it's expensive. So when you pull up in an LS430, even a 20-year-old one, nobody thinks, wow, that must have been cheap. They think, damn, this guy knows how to manage money. Meanwhile, the reality is that you paid less than the price of a used iPhone. You bought the car for the same amount someone else pays for a monthly car note on a Ford Focus. But there's one more detail that makes this car borderline unfair. It still looks expensive. Luxury ages badly on most brands. Old BMWs look tired. Old Autos look angry. Old Mercedes look like they've been through divorce court twice. But old Lexus? They age like a billionaire's furniture. Ageless, timeless, and annoyingly classy. You show up anywhere in an LS430 and immediately gain social credit. Restaurants treat you better. Valets take you seriously. People assume your watch is real. Your date starts fixing their hair. The LS430 doesn't make you look rich. It makes you look established. Like you're the kind of person who says things like, let's take the Lexus. Not my Lexus. Just the Lexus. Because rich people don't need to own things. Things belong to them automatically. In reality, though, you're just hoping the air suspension doesn't explode today. You're just praying the previous owner actually did the timing belt. You're just smiling through the pain while filling it with 91 octane fuel you absolutely can't afford. But nobody sees that. They see the badge, the luxury, the presence, the quiet confidence. The Lexus LS430 is the car that makes you look like you're financially bulletproof, even if you're spiritually and economically bankrupt. Number 1, Mercedes-Benz S-Class W221, 2007 to 2013. The car that makes you look like a millionaire? Even if your bank account is begging for mercy, the Mercedes S-Class isn't a car. It's a social experiment. Specifically, how rich can you look with absolutely no money? And the answer, very embarrassingly rich. Suspiciously rich. Rich in a way that makes people assume you have offshore accounts, a private lawyer, and at least 2 side businesses they don't understand. The W221 S-Class is the undisputed king of fake wealth. Every feature, every line, every detail screams, I am successful. Even if the truth is, you bought it for less than the price of a PlayStation and a pair of shoes. Let's break down why this thing is the cheat code of looking rich. The presence. Untouchable. You don't drive an S-Class. You arrive in an S. Pulling up anywhere in this car gives off energy like you're re-stepping out for a business deal involving a suitcase full of cash. The front is bold. The headlights look intelligent. The grille looks like it has opinions about economics. Park it next to any other car from the same era and it instantly becomes the alpha vehicle. Park it next to a newer car and somehow the S-Class still looks like the boss. This thing has a gravity field. People notice it before they notice you. The interior, richer than your life. Sit inside a W221 and every worry you've ever had disappears. Bills. Who cares? Debt doesn't exist. Your checking account with $37.16? Not right now, King. This interior is engineered to make you feel like you're too important for stress. You've got massive leather seats that feel like thrones. Real wood everywhere lighting that makes your skin look better. A dashboard that curves around you like you're in first class, a backseat big enough to host a small meeting. Close the door, and the sound it makes is money, not metal. Not plastic. Money. It's the only car that makes people silent when they enter. They just sit there, impressed, recalibrating their entire judgment of you. The reputation, unfair advantage. Everyone knows 2 things about the S-Class. It's the car rich people drive. It's always been expensive. And because of that reputation, nobody questions the age. You could drive a 2007 model and people would still think, damn, he's doing well. No one assumes it was cheap. No one thinks he probably got a deal. They think you're a grown adult with investments and a structured morning routine. Even if in reality your routine is oversleeping and eating microwave noodles. The hidden truth. It's affordable and terrifying. Here's the magic trick. These cars are cheap on the used market. Why? Because they brake like they were engineered by Loki, god of chaos. Air suspension explodes. Electronics possessed by demons. Sensors stop working for emotional reasons. Repairs cost more than your monthly rent. But nobody sees that. All they see is the badge, the shape, the luxury, the vibe. The S-Class is the automotive equivalent of wearing a Louis Vuitton suit you bought from a pawn shop. Looks real. Feels real. Nobody knows the pain behind the scenes. The illusion is strong. Pull up an AW221 and watch how the world shifts around you. Valet suddenly respects you. Security lets you walk in without checking anything. Restaurant host smiles like you're a returning VIP. People assume you have a black card. Women raise eyebrows. Men assume you do something important. Teenagers think your famous neighbors become friendly. This car alters your perceived status instantly. Not slightly. Not a little. Instantly. The psychology. Why this car works better than anything else. The S-Class is the global symbol of power and money. Presidents, CEOs, diplomats, they don't drive BMWs, they don't drive Audis, they drive S-Classes. So when you drive one, people subconsciously slot you into that same category, regardless of the truth. That's why this car hits harder than any other rich-look car, including stuff that costs more today. It carries the prestige of a $120,000 luxury flagship for the cost of a cheap, used Honda. The verdict, the Mercedes-Benz W221 S-Class, isn't just a car. It's a social upgrade, a perception hack, a visual promotion in life. It makes you look wealthy, powerful, well-connected, successful, important, even if you are none of those things yet. It's the #1 car that makes you look rich even when you're broke. Because the S-Class doesn't just take you somewhere, it transports your status. And there you have it, these 7 cars that make you look like you have a trust fund. Even if your bank account is currently fighting for its life, these cars prove one thing. You don't need money to look expensive, you just need the right illusion. From the quiet old money aura of the Lexus LS430, the presidential confidence of the Mercedes S, these cars let you walk into the world with billionaire energy, even if you're budgeting your meals for the week. So before you go financing a brand new car you can't afford, maybe take a look at what's already out there waiting to make you look like you made it. If you liked this list, or if you're already searching for one of these cars on Marketplace, hit that like button and subscribe, because we've got more countdowns coming that'll save your wallet, boost your status, and probably expose a few automotive disasters along the way. Thanks for watching! And remember, you don't have to be rich to look rich, but you do have to pick the right car. See you in the next one.